I love Bristol's dynamism and its diversity. It's the diversity of thought that drives the creativity in the city.
One obvious thing is Gloucester Road. I love the diversity of shops, but most of all, the best thing about Bishopston is obviously the diversity of people and the passion with which people living in Bishopston talk about things that matter to me, things that matter to them, things that matter to us as a whole city.
What I like most about living in Bishopston is that it's friendly, it's vibrant and it's creative.
Bishopston and Ashley Down is a great place to live. From the great green spaces that we've got, like Hallfield Common and Ashley Down Green, to its real heart in Gloucester Road.
What I like about the area is very chilled and very relaxed. A bustle of life. Gloucester Road, I remember on a Saturday we would just go and just walk up and down Gloucester Road. That was our Saturday.
Hi, my name's Tom Brook. I'm one of the Labour and Cooperative candidates to be one of the councillors for Bishopston and Ashley Down ward within Bristol City Council. So I first became interested in politics because I feel the need for a responsible, socially minded government at both a local and a national level that really wants to make a difference in people's everyday lives, but also can see the bigger picture to solve things like poverty and the threat of climate change. One thing that I think really needs to change in the local area is transportation. Now, transport is a problem throughout Bristol, but it's really quite acute and quite readily felt in Bishopston and Ashley Down. We always get such bad traffic and, of course, the pollution that comes with that. The pollution in Bristol, I think lots of people know is really bad, but not many people know it's so bad to the extent that nearly 200 people actually die from it a year. To really have a big effect, we need to fix our public transport system. The buses throughout Bristol tend to be pretty unreliable. They can, for lots of people, the fares are too expensive. We'd like to work with the bus companies to try and help alleviate that problem, but also introduce an integrated public transport system where we have things like an Oyster-style card. We need to expand the train network in suburban Bristol, and in Bishopston and Ashley Down, having a newly opened Ashley Hill station would be amazing, not just for the convenience of the residents, but also for sportsgoers. We want to make a lettings charter, a good landlord's charter. So working with community groups, with residents, with the students' unions to try and get a better quality of housing across the city. We of course need to build more homes. So we will build 2,000 homes a year, 800 of which will be classed as affordable. A good home that's of a high standard and that they can be proud to live in. The NHS in our area is under constant threat from the national government's cuts. We really need to protect the NHS in Bristol. One thing that is really has not helped in Bishopston and Ashley Down is the issue of the Bristol North Baths fiasco. As your local councillors, myself and David McLeod, we will spur the North Baths development on to try and get a solution that means that we can have a high quality of medical practice that is happy to move into the centre and that is timely for the practice. We've been speaking to traders along Gloucester Road and they've been telling us that they're worried about the effects of out-of-town shopping, about the parking situation in the area and also about the effects of business taxes. We really want to work with business owners and with local residents and with visitors to the area. Alongside myself, Tom Brook, running for councillor in Bishopston and Ashley Down, there's also my fellow candidate, David McLeod. David is a really committed community campaigner and he's really committed to helping local people and to making a positive change in the area. I think he's really worthy of a vote.
My name is David McLeod, or David McLeod, depends how you want to pronounce it. And I'm running for the Labour group in Bristol. I'm the candidate for Bishopston and Ashley Down. Now, Bishopston was there that I grew up in when I was younger, going from my teens. I had a lot of friends that lived in the area. I grew up at the top part of Hallfield, up by Most Part School. My interest in politics started when I was in college. I've always had an interest in history, and then just connecting that historical understanding to the modern context in which we live in. So that kind of stimulated my interest back then, and I just kind of taken it further now. And one of the key issues for myself, one of the things I campaign actively on is education. Again, Bristol is a city where you've got some of the best schools you can imagine, but at the same time, you've got some of the schools that aren't performing as well. For me, education's a massive issue. I want to have a city now where no matter where you come from, no matter what background you come from, you can have the same life chances as someone that's going to go to a better school 2 miles up the road. Speak to a lot of teachers now, they regret the choice of actually going into education. They don't want to be there anymore. So it's about working with them now and just trying to say, no, this is what we can do to help you. Some of the teachers do such an excellent job. Some of the teachers have got so much passion in terms of what they were doing. It's about getting a system then where we can work with those teachers to harness that passion. There's a massive gap in terms of the equality issues in Bristol. The gap between rich and poor is growing, the education gaps are growing, the health gap is growing. We know now that we've got a massive problem with the homelessness in Bristol. I just think there's a lot of issues that we kind of aren't working at trying to tackle. I find it's crazy that we can be in Bishopston and we can be in a beautiful area, but if you go 1.5 miles down the road, it's a whole different story. It's crazy that somebody can live 1.5 miles away, but the life expectancy for the person 1.5 miles away is up to 7 years less than what you've got here. So for me, if I was to be given the job as a councillor, it'd be by just trying to share what is going well in one area with the areas that aren't going well, trying to balance it out a little bit and try to stop the gap that I believe is growing within Bristol, just trying to draw attention to the other issues. I mean, we can be good on our own doorstep, but then what happens when you go down the road? Are we always going to drive past people sleeping in doorways? I think we've just got to say no. I think as a city, we want to help. Bristol is a city of sanctuary. Bristol is a city where people want to help people. We're a friendly place. Along my side is my colleague, Tom Brook. Tom, excellent candidate, very on the ball. Sit down, give Tom an action this evening. The action will be complete first thing in the morning. Ideally, we can both get elected at the same time. I think we can get good balance in terms of our skill sets. I think that we could do an extra job for the area. And I think that if anyone can do it, then myself and Tom, we're the people.
I have no hesitation in recommending Tom and David, who will be excellent local councillors. For a start, they're both very hardworking, incredibly tenacious and kind. And I think it's really important that politicians are kind and will work hard to represent the people they are trying to represent. Now, Tom and David have been out knocking on doors, talking to people in all weathers, in all days of the week, for quite some time now, so they've got real handle on what's going on. They're both from round here and they both know their patch really, really well.
Bristol's a city in which too many people are being left behind. Almost 25% of our children grow up in poverty. We have 4 areas that are in the top 1% deprivation in the UK. These things should be embarrassing to us. They really undermine our integrity as a city. They undermine the story that we tell. I want to have delivered on our policies. I want to make sure that every primary school age child is getting access to a breakfast club. I want to make sure people know that they have homes they can live in, that we are building the 2,000 homes. I want to make sure that our children are feeling more resilient in their own mental health and well-being. I want us to be taking action around moving towards our capital of culture bid, and people are feeling the beginning of the cultural change that we'll be putting in place to make sure we are credible. I would have wanted to have made absolute concrete inroads into our transport problems in the city. Working with our bus company, absolutely. But it's not just about asking them to deliver. We need to ask what we need to do as a city to help our bus companies to thrive. It's not one messianic individual. That's a really impoverished vision of what leadership should be. Inclusive leadership, diversity of thought, social inclusion, that's where Bristol's future prosperity lies.